Hi, it's Eric, and I'm here with.
I'm JJ, his wife. I'm a life coach, and you are.
I'm a novelist. I write science fiction and fantasy novels, all of which you should read immediately. We just got back from a cruise
We did.
yesterday.
Yes.
We were aboard the Regal Princess. Where did we go?
We did not go to Cozumel.
Why was that? The wind was too strong to dock.
Carnival docked somewhere else in Mexico and had issues
Oh,
that
did
very
they?
same day. Yeah.
Did they sink?
They did not sink, but the ship got damaged. I don't remember what happened exactly. But they had to go to a different pier, so people came back from their excursions and their ship was gone.
Oh,
Now, now Carnival took care of them. They
yeah.
found the ship. It was all good. But yeah, so we did not go to Cozumel. We stopped at Belize City.
We didn't go ashore.
We did not go ashore. And we stopped at Roatan, Honduras, which we did go
We did go ashore.
ashore.
I don't go ashore if you have to take a small boat from the big boat. And it was a 45-minute tender from the boat to shore.
In
And
Belize, yeah.
as it relates to Carnivore, the eating was both easy and difficult.
Yes. Now, I have to say, day one, we got aboard the ship. We had lunch in a restaurant. That was good. And then later for dinner, we headed up to the buffet, I believe, is when we hit dinner.
You're the rememberer. That
I
was
think.
so long ago, I could not possibly tell you what happened.
You'll remember it in a moment, though. So we get to the buffet, and there are many, many meat selections, including a big, carving station. They were carving some huge hunk of meat. I don't know what it was.
Some sort of beef roast.
So yeah, some sort of beef thing. So I took a big slab of that. He wanted to give me a little one, and he was trying to cut off the fat, and I'm like, no, 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 no.
I do remember that. Yeah, like, give me the fat.
Give me the whole thing with the fat. Yeah, both pieces that you just cut in half. No, no, no. I want them all. I said, this is all I'm eating.
That was one of the big problems on the cruise, was getting enough fat.
That was a huge problem. So we were really heartened by day one. Like, we were like, all right, this is great. So many options. And then things got a little more challenging as time went on, because I can tell you, day two, there was not a big carving station.
There was some extremely weirdly cooked pork belly available, but in a suspicious seasoning, and also horribly prepared, like extremely untasty.
Well, and I think that is sort of the theme of the meat that we encountered in the buffet, especially. So the buffet, again, the buffet did not have such a great selection as that very first buffet did. But we could always find several types of meat in the buffet.
Yep.
Many of them were extremely overcooked, which we toughed it out
And ate it anyway. Yeah.
and ate it anyway. But as you mentioned, there was the fat was trimmed off most of the meat, and a lot of it was in sauces.
Yeah, and you have this issue with gluten, so it complicates it because you can't trust the sauces.
No. So, and they did have a gluten-free section. The gluten-free section contained 3 or 4 dishes, which gluten-free, I am very grateful for having any selections. However, this gluten-free section was healthy, always healthy, which meant some like broccoli, some chicken breasts, and maybe some potatoes, often a little overdone potato, but like that would be about it for the gluten-free section. And chicken breast is
No.
overcooked chicken breast, not my fave.
So the intention for the trip was we were going to be very good with our diets. That didn't mean we were going to eat no carbs, because we had salads pretty much every day.
Yes, yes.
So that was, but we really wanted to stick pretty close to that sort of ketovore kind of style of eating. And it is very possible on a cruise to do it.
Yes, it is.
And this is the first time I think we have actually attempted to
Any
stay
plan.
to hew that closely.
Yeah.
We've done intermittent fasting on cruises before, which is very helpful. But what was interesting to me was I was having some GI issues with the meat that I was eating, which would not be typical on my life on shore.
Yeah, that was very strange. And we really can't rack it up to the salad. The salads we had were small. And we do have some salads in our real life
Occasionally.
occasionally. So we don't feel it was that causing
No,
it.
I don't know if it was how they were cooked, if there was certain seasonings on them that I was sensitive to, or if some of it was fried in suspicious oils. It's hard to say.
I too had one day where I sort of inflated for no real reason. And I'm being very careful about sauces and things as well. Yeah, it was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was I mean, from a carnivore ketovore standpoint, it's very possible to do it. There is, of course, endless temptation everywhere you go to not be carnivore. There was like a pasta bar. There was always some sort of potatoes and mac and cheese. There was a whole little room in the buffet with bread.
Yep. There was the ramen station.
Yeah, ramen station, which I might have
Build your
tried
own
on a
ramen.
previous cruise. Didn't try it this time.
Yeah.
There was a gelato bar, not in the buffet.
Yeah.
And there was a pizza restaurant. And of course, any number of treats and snacks. There were, like at the coffee shop.
Yeah, you
if
could
you
just-
just wanted the little sandwiches or the cakes or the desserts, they would just hand them out of the case to you. So that was something to resist.
And maybe I just want to say, because I don't want to really diss Princess,
No.
maybe those items were delicious. They could have been off the charts delicious. We don't know.
We didn't eat them. But I will say, we did have a reservation for the chop house called something Grill,
Crown.
Crown Grill,
Yep.
which is an upcharge restaurant. It's not included in your base fare. And I got a giant bone-in filet, and you got a ribeye, I think.
I did get a ribeye, yes.
And it was very, very mediocre.
My ribeye, I was really happy because it had fat. And I think it said even in the menu that it was well marbled or something. So that was true. It was well marbled. I had some fat. And it was fine. It was fine. We were really hoping to get a sear.
Yeah, there was no sear.
Yeah.
There was some grill marks on it, but the flavor was, I mean, it wasn't well seasoned and the flavor wasn't really developed
Yeah.
at all. I ate the whole thing because I
Oh,
needed
yeah.
it. But it wasn't, it just, yeah.
Yeah.
In fairness, the night before our cruise, we
Yeah.
were staying in Galveston and we went to a steakhouse called the Number 13.
Mm-hmm.
Very expensive.
Very.
And I had a giant, was that another filet? I can't remember. It was
yes.
delicious.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was. So I think yours was more delicious than mine. His had some sort of a crust on it, like a seasoning crust. I don't know what it was. Mine was also very delicious, but what we both noticed there was that the steaks were perfectly cooked. The cooking skill of the chefs there was phenomenal. One of the best prepared steaks I have ever seen.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And so when we got on the ship, I'd sort of had, that was my standard. And that might have been a little unfair. Yeah.
A Texas steakhouse.
Yeah.
A high-end Texas steakhouse.
Yeah. So that was being carnivore on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
The other benefit of being on a cruise ship, if you're willing to take it, is you walk a lot of steps and climb a lot of stairs. We were on deck 14, And the sort of entertainment and venue decks were 5 through 7. So we were always climbing at least 7 decks down and 7 decks back up because we did take the elevator, sometimes when we were tired at the end of the day, but we went up those steps a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like my conditioning is better now that we're home than when we left because of all the walking we did.
We did a ton.
Plus, they had a walking track on deck 16 or something, and we did miles on that thing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
which was really nice.
Yeah.
Out in the sunshine, and of course, compared to Wisconsin,
in February,
80 degrees and balmy humidity and sun is pretty easy to take, and so we took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And you swam.
Yes, when we went to Roatan, I swam on the beach.
Or in the ocean.
Not on the beach. That's a little difficult. But yeah, I did about a half hour of swimming, and that was really lovely too. Oh my gosh, so nice. So we got some good activity.
And I would say that we brought the average age of the cruiser on board down by about 20 years by our presence.
It was amazing, though. We went to this one show by Don Ellis Gatlin, and he brought up people in the audience who had been celebrating more than 50 years married, their anniversary, and 9 couples from the audience were up there. He said that was the highest he's seen, and 2 of them were celebrating 60 or more years.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So that was amazing. But yes, we definitely there were some young people, and the majority were definitely older.
So there was something we talked a lot about the other cruisers and how it was sort of inspiring us. One, in our marriage, it was nice to see all these couples that were happy. And one of the questions I had was, are there so many old married couples on this ship because they like each other and therefore they do things together? Or are they the only ones left alive in their age cohort and they just happen to be retired and going on cruises? I don't know. But I kind of think it's the former. I think it's that if your relationship is good, strong, and you can tolerate being around each other, then you tend to do things which maybe supports your aging. Because they all seemed happy. There's a lot of old couples, would get out and dance in the piazza. In the middle of the ship, there's this big atrium, and they'd have live music there. And on occasion, you'd see elderly couples getting out there and dancing, which was, I don't know. I kind of didn't like it, but I kind of did.
Maybe you should explain that a little bit. See,
I don't like it when people dance and aren't good at it.
But some of them were.
That was surprising, yeah. And then I didn't like them because they were showing off.
You can't win.
No, you can't. There's no winning. But we did not see a lot of extremely healthy old people.
Yes.
We saw what you would kind of expect, unfortunately, on a ship that's full of buffets of carby sweets and flowing alcohol, is just the obesity epidemic just in full flagrant flare.
Yeah.
And it was really sad. We happened to be seated close to this group of 4, twice actually.
Yeah, twice.
And just by virtue of their volume of speaking,
we weren't intentionally.
We were going. What did she say? What was that? We didn't have a choice but to overhear this conversation.
Yeah.
And the first time it started as they compared their A1C numbers. And there was nobody there with an A1C below 6. And it was one of these things where I was like, I can't go over there and interrupt their conversation and say, you know what, I was listening in, and as you were eating that bread, you said around a mouth of bread, well, my A1C is 6, but it's going to be 8 by the end of this cruise.
That's a quote.
That is a direct quote.
That is a quote.
And and this individual was on metformin and Ozempic as well.
Yeah.
And the conversation for a good half hour was about the medicines their doctor had put them on and the choices that they were making around their diet. And they did not make good choices, but they probably were making choices that weren't too far outside of what their doctor was recommending, or a dietitian who was sort of their diabetes consultant was telling them to eat. And it was heartbreaking because, these were people's grandparents, obviously. And I was like, they are on the way out. If they keep this up, they're cutting years off of their lives. But who am I? I'm just a YouTuber novelist. I can't go and say, you know what? But I was wishing Dr. Barry was with me.
What would Dr. Barry do, you were saying?
I was
don't
like,
know.
would he actually say something? I don't know if he would, but they were absolutely a group who needed to watch his videos, because I think they would have found some hope and maybe a different view there.
It was so, like, everything they said was just what you might expect someone to say under conventional medical treatment, following the normal diet guidelines.
They were not stupid.
No.
They were not uneducated. They
No.
were not ignorant.
No.
They were misled.
They were misled. And at one point one day it wasn't the same day, but I was so angry about the misinformation we've all had around this, and that it's not being corrected at any quick rate.
Every time we sat down at a restaurant on board, they would bring out the basket of bread, and I would say, no bread. And the waiter would be like, this is unprecedented. No one's ever said no bread. And then it'd be like, no wine, no drinks. I couldn't even understand. And then we'd get up and leave, and they would like, wait, don't you want dessert? Like, no, I want to live to be 100.
A healthy 100.
Yeah, I want to be active. I want to be slim like you. The waiter who, weighs 130 pounds because he walks like 20,000 steps every day.
One waiter said he made some offhanded joke about how, they don't even want a waiter, or don't even want a server or something, because we weren't having the bread and we weren't having the drinks and we weren't having the dessert. It was, they were.
Yeah, it was
they
JP.
were shocked. JP,
He couldn't believe I said no to everything pretty much. And it was inspirational in a way, because I was like, well, I can see myself, because these people are 60, 70, 80 years old. And I'm like, that's one path to go towards being that shape and that poor of shape, physical conditioning. And it has nothing to do with their willingness to exercise or laziness or anything like that. It is merely being misled about what to eat. And I'm like, I'm not going that direction. And I came home more committed to eating my carnivore diet and exercising and trying to get good sleep than I was when I left.
Yeah.
So it was good for that.
Yeah, lessons learned on a cruise.
Yeah, so I think traveling and staying on this kind of diet is hard because no one's used to it. On the check-in for the cruise, it was like, which diet are you on? Gluten, diabetes, low salt. I don't know what all the choices were. Vegetarian, vegan.
Yep.
There was no carnivore or keto in that list. And so, they're not organizing the way they're designing their menus for people who are following this particular path.
Yep. But it was doable.
Have you gone on a cruise?
Yeah.
Have you tried to eat keto or carnivore? Have you gone to Disney World or Disneyland and tried to stay keto or carnivore? That's one challenge we have not yet
Not
done.
yet.
I'm sure it's doable, but I'm not familiar enough with the restaurants at the parks. But
I've seen one group of influencers at least doing it.
That seems like that would be hard.
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments how you travel and stay on the course.
Yep. More to come on the carnivore cruising.
Yep. Till next time.